Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Jermaine Johnson of the Jermaine Johnson Show, coming back to you with another episode of a quick view that we're going to have with my good friend Bakari Sellers. In the recent media, we've been seeing a lot of, I guess, calls for President Biden to step aside. We've also been talking about this immunity ruling that's happened from the Supreme Court, and just a few things about what the path to victory looks like for Democrats across the state and across this country. What's the future going to look like? And I asked my good friend Bakari to come on and just to kind of give us a definition and kind of put it in layman's terms as to what this immunity ruling actually means, what's going to happen. And I just want him to kind of fill us in real quick, just as normal folk. What does that even mean? This immunity ruling. So, Bakari, appreciate you coming on this morning, man. Appreciate you coming on to talk to us. Can you, first of all, tell the people who you are, and then after that, what does this immunity ruling even mean for people?
Well, first, Jermaine, thank you for having me. Representative, Johnson, thank you for having me. Um, I'm just, I guess the best way to describe me is I'm just your page, and so I'm glad that you allowed me the opportunity to come on and talk for a second. The immunity ruling is it's a few things. The first thing is that the president has absolute immunity for any of the core functions that he does from the power that he's granted as being president of the United States from the Constitution, any official acts. And so what that does is it narrows the scope of what Jack Smith, who's the special prosecutor, can charge Donald Trump with when it comes to January 6th in particular. I do not believe it's going to have much effect on the classified documents case, but January 6th, yes. They also gave examples, clear examples, that speaking to other members of the government and other members of your cabinet are official acts. And so, if in fact he were to tell a member of his cabinet, that he wanted to do anything really under the sun or give him that authority to do so, he cannot be charged for that particular effort. One of the more concerning things it did was it obliterated the wall between the Department of Justice and the White House. Right now, for example, Joe Biden doesn't talk to the Attorney General about whether or not he's prosecuting Hunter or whether or not he's prosecuting Donald Trump or any of those things, because for precedent has been set throughout history that those two kind of departments or individuals, there was a wall between the two of them. And so that has been obliterated. There is still a path for Donald Trump to be charged for January 6th. It just makes it harder. They remanded the case back to the circuit court. And Chutkin, who is the judge in that case, will have to make a determination about what is an official act and what is not. In theory, Joe Biden today could send SEAL Team 6 down to Mar-a-Lago and assassinate Donald Trump, in theory. And that would be something that would not be illegal based upon this ruling. And so it gives the president unfettered reign, and he's already the most powerful person in the world. I would encourage anybody who wants to know more about it to read Justice Sotomayor's dissent, in which she lays those things out.
Man, I'm concerned because Judge Sotomayor, when they were saying that about making a king, and I even tweeted about this. I'm a little concerned about having a King Donald Trump. So we've been having this call. People have been coming out calling and saying, hey, that they think that Biden should step aside, or we should do. What's your opinion on that? What's your opinion on Biden stepping aside after the debate and all that type of stuff?
No, I think Democrats are silly, and I think that we don't fight, and I think that we give up. Republicans fall in line. Democrats like to fall in love. There were 100 newspapers that in 1992, after Bill Clinton had his issues, called for him to resign. I remember after Trump, the tape of Grab Him by the Pussy came out, the RNC chair, Reince Priebus, actually went to his penthouse New York to try to get him to resign, and he still won. I mean, we're still 100 and some odd days out, 110 days out. A lot of things can change, and the bottom didn't fall out. He's losing the race right now, but I mean, and then the question would be, who would you replace him with? I mean, there's only one option. All the white boys that people are naming, that's not really an option. I mean, the only option you have is Kamala Harris. She inherits the $240 million in cash, and if you nominate Andy Bashir, for example, I mean, who is his chair in Arizona, right? Who is his campaign chair? And he has no infrastructure in place, and Kamala Harris inherits all of that. So, I mean, a lot of the conversations we're having are just silly. At the end of the day, you have a choice to make. And do you want somebody who's old, or do you want somebody who's going to tear the fabric of the country apart? And those are your choices.
That's right. I said this also myself. I was talking about if he was to step aside, my thing was, obviously we're going with Kamala, but I would say that it wouldn't be about essentially who we're replacing Biden with. I say the main thing would be to put a focus on who is going to be the vice president. And that is what I was saying, because people, they like or they love Kamala. But I said after that, who was her vice president? Who would we get to allow, I guess, regular Democrats to fall in love with as the vice president? That type of thing, because we keep hearing about this problem of Democrats falling in love with people, and I 100% agree with that. And I actually had a conversation with a Republican congressman who said, he's specific to me, he said, we value team over self. And that's what he said about the Republican Party. They value team over self. And I say the biggest asset for Democrats is our diversity. The biggest problem with Democrats is our diversity.
Yeah. And there's a lot of diversity. But you have people doing silly stuff like Michael Moore in the 1st District running for Congress and calling for Joe Biden to drop out. I was like, that's the quickest way to lose a race. I don't know what
was he saying? Who advised him to say that?
I don't know, man. It's just, it's weird, man. You got somebody who's not getting out the race. So why would you be running against your own president? Which, those people that you're trying to get around the middle ain't voting for you know how. It's just, it was a weird strategy. I don't know. People are losing their mind right now. Hopefully over the next 10 days or so, they get some sense.
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it. His advisor, I'd probably fire my advisor for tell me something like that. What's the for Biden now? For Biden, what is the pathway to victory now? Now that we've got this, after the debate has happened, after all this other crap is all up in the air, what's his pathway to victory to make sure that we keep him in the White House?
Yeah, he just has to get out more. You got to have access to him, have to be able to see him. He's been doing these interviews. And, it's not about necessarily what he says or even how he says it. He just has to be outside, and he has to campaign. And, I think I don't know what today is, but he's going to be in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin this weekend, which is good. And he's been doing did a series of radio interviews. He's doing a sit down with George Stephanopoulos. He's just, you got to go outside, got to let people see, you got to let people touch you. Him, of all the candidates and all the people who have been involved, I've never met President Biden, never met him, never had a conversation with him. Well, that actually might be your fault, because he was in South Carolina.
Get the hell out of here.
He in South Carolina all the time.
Which is great.
He vacations.
It's crazy. He's in South Carolina all the time, but I ain't never even talked to this man.
That's on you.
Well, I'll take some of that blame right there. What do we see next for Bakari Sellers before we get out of there? I'm gonna throw that one on. What do we see next?
Oh, I don't know, man. I'm just raising these kids, being a husband, doing all the things that you do, and enjoying this summer, man. I'm trying to stay cool. It's hot summer, but that's about it, man.
Now, I've been taking my kids to swimming lessons. I ain't seen you at swimming lessons one time. Now, I seen your wife now. She taking kids to the swimming lessons.
That's right, because I'm glad you're seeing it. Somebody got to work throughout them days, so I'll be grinding or traveling. But she definitely makes sure they get the way they need to be.
Oh man, All right, brother. Well, I ain't gonna take up no more of your day, man. I appreciate you coming on here real quick, giving us an enlightened update as to
Always.
what the path is, man. And
I'm very,
you
very,
know,
very proud of you, man. You are a much better adult and representative than you ever were a basketball player. And so I appreciate your maturation and where you are today.
oh man, I appreciate you, brother. Always good to talk to you, man. Always good to hear from you, man. Appreciate you.
Peace.